Good morning. It is Wednesday, April 8th. I'm going to go for my walk, but I thought before I actually go for my walk that I would um, show you guys. This is a project that the landscape crew started and I need to finish. But I did want to show you some of the flowers that are coming up. I'm not sure what this is called right here. But over here are irises. This clump there is chives. They taste like onions. All of this popping up are daffodils. This is a bleeding heart that's coming up. And right down here, one of my favorites, these are primroses, English primroses, all coming up. And this is my lupin. And this plant was absolutely gorgeous. I am going to share a picture of the lupins when I get back. So I'm going to pause and walk over to another part of my garden. This is a wooded, wait, what do I want to do? I want to, this is like the backyard wooded part behind our house. All right. So right here, these are called Dutchman britches. They have never bloomed for me, but they've never come back this strong either. Usually, they're a plant that dies off after early spring. So I'm very hopeful. And I have some more primroses, and these primroses I planted a few years back. And then I've planted primroses all along this next section by the brick, and they're poking their heads out. They're not going to be as strong as these, but they're still going to be fine. There's another bleeding heart and another one. I know I don't know what I had over here, to tell you the truth. I might have just had annuals, between the chair and that. That piece of driftwood is a piece of wood that I took out of Lake Delton when it drained that year. And this rock might be from Alaska State Park, I believe. I collect rocks, but I forget where I've gotten them from. I think I left the one I stole from Devil's Lake at my other house. And just got a gnome there that you're supposed to put bird feed in there, but it's got a crack in it. So, and then I got an angel that my son and daughter-in-law had given me. I've got estabes here where these sticks are. They are poking their heads. I think that's about as far as they're poking their heads. And here is another bleeding heart. That baby was huge last year. I transplanted it from in front of the estabes because you couldn't see the estabes. And I did buy some more estabes, so they're a red flower that likes the shade. Oh, here is my lungwort, and it's about ready to bloom. And the neat thing about this flower is that it blooms pink, and then day by day it gets bluer and bluer. So I'll put it on pause again. Okay, here is rhubarb. The landscape crew dug this out from that first area I showed you where I said it was a project that I had to finish. They dug it out from there and put it here, and it's just doing wonderful. Here are my, these are 2 boxes that are shallow boxes that we put lettuce and spinach and some herbs in. And then below this, last year, this one had been over on the other side of the house. I had tomatoes in it. And here's the other one that I had tomatoes in it. Well, you're not supposed to put tomatoes in the same place that you had them the previous year. So I'm thinking I'm going to put beans and peas in there this year. Then as I come along this side of the house, I've got the landscape crew also did this. That first one is all finished, but this one needs some work because there is such a slant to the ground. They didn't have time. They had such a limited amount of time. I have got to either build this end up or dig that end down. And then I've got the soil and the peat moss to put in there. Over here, by under this tree, nothing ever grows. And I had a lot of lungwort, that first bloomer. So I asked the landscape crew to take those plants and plant them here. So around this tree are, it's hard to tell this time of year there they are. It's the white spotted flower. And it spreads so much that this whole area will be filled with them in a year or two. And they're a nice foliage plant. And this is a plant that deer do not like. So I'm going to pause again. Okay, so this is the front of the house. This stick was a peony that I transplanted, and it's got a red flower. So I am so excited because it survived. When you transplant things, you never know if they're going to survive. Here's another one. I'm not sure what color it's going to be. And another one. And then I planted some roots in between here and there. Now that one, all you can see is the dead stuff. That's a huge peony plant. So they really like this area. That's why I transplanted these. So in a couple of years, this whole front of the house is just going to be peonies. This is my rose tree, and I've got to unwrap it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It might need some more pruning, but it'll come back to life. I'm pretty sure. I hope. My son gave that to my mom and I for Mother's Day. Be 2 years this Mother's Day. All around here, let's see. That is a corbel. And I have put corbels all along the front edge of this stone area, and they are coming up. The hummingbirds like these plants. They have a tiny pink flower on a long spike. So they're gonna do. They are a survivor, and they do very well. This clump of dead stuff, I see some green leaves there, so it's coming back to life. That is called a coreopsis. It's a yellow flower. This is lavender, And lavender doesn't always survive the winter. So all I see right now, anything green that I see is grass. So I don't know if that's going to come up or not. Honestly, I planted something here and I don't remember what it was. It was either oriental poppies or antiquia, which is a purple cone flower. So I don't know what's going on with that. This little clump of green stuff is Veronica. It is a purple flower, and it's coming back. It's another one of those survivors. It has a kind of a deep blue little purple flower in there. And then here's that big clump of dead. But if you look close, you can see all the sticks of new peonies. All the red stuff there are peonies poking out of the ground. And there's one more flower here. Boy, let me see if I got it. Oh, there it is. Yes. I see some green. That is a really delicate yellow flower. Then we got a couple of tubs here. Now, everything that's in the ground is called a perennial. It's going to come back up year after year. But pots, you have to put annuals in. So you have to replant. They die, and then you have to get new ones. So you can always change what you want in the pots. In the ground, you got to think about what you're going to put in there because it ain't moving unless you like digging stuff up. And then here's this chair and another chair. And I have got to tell you about these chairs. My mother found them in somebody's yard in Monona, waiting for the trash to pick them up. Well, she was on a walk and she grabbed them and took them home, cleaned them up and spray painted them. And then she found these pots that fit perfectly into the seats. And she actually gave them to me when I lived in Linden Station. And I would put pansies in there, which is an annual. You have to put annuals in there. Anyway, she's so artistic. She sees stuff like that, and she does some pretty cool things with it. So there's my little tour of early spring. This is like the most exciting time of year for a gardener, I think, is just looking at all the stuff that's, excuse me, coming up. So I will let you go. Bye-bye.